Happy ReZero Day, we've come to the best and least best part about it, which is the finale. I rewatched the episode like 7 times and it still hasn't hit me that the season is finally concluded. Okay, I'm gonna need a minute. But on a serious note though, this episode hit the landing just right. And honestly, after all the shenanigans Season 2 Part 1 put us through, we deserve this. So basically your average ReZero season. Okay, let me actually go into the episode now. Okay, so we last left off where Subaru and Beatrice teleported, I guess, to the sanctuary. The barrier has been removed and the sanctuary's inhabitants were just moments away from being eaten, gobbled, devoured, feasted upon by the great rabbits. Those things are the main reason why I cannot be at ease when watching the whole of Season 2 since their debut. And especially in Season 2 Part 2, I was like, the great rabbits are just outside there, you know? They're just waiting for it to snow. But I kept calm this time around because now we have a new addition to Team Subaru, which is, of course, Beatrice, the cute little spirit, okay, who finally takes Subaru's hand and joins the fray. Her interactions throughout this episode were really heartwarming to watch, and I feel really happy to her that she's finally out of that library. And her interactions with most people drastically changes, but you can tell the difference between how she speaks when she was guarding the Forbidden Library and how she is now. Her personality doesn't take a complete 180 though, but she does seem more open. And she has been shown to be a bit shy, such as when calling Subaru by his real name, along with reacting to his easygoing personality, which prior to this she has shown to be quite annoyed and tends to be aggressive about it. So she and Subaru went straight down to business to deal with the great rabbits and simply just spammed the spell Elminia. And I knew perfectly well that even with Beatrice's help, dealing with the great rabbits wasn't just going to be some walk in the park solution. So they did concoct a plan with the help of Emilia as well, might I add. Also, I'm really glad that those things cannot just multiply infinitely, or else there'll be no end to them, there'll be no solution. Because that's what I really dread about the great rabbits, is that according to Daphne, they could just multiply infinitely according to hers. Apparently they have a limit to how many times they can multiply, so that's a relief. So they managed to trap all the great rabbits in one area, with Emilia sort of solidifying the barrier, I suppose, and then Beatrice using Al-Shamak, so that causes the great rabbits to sort of feed on each other, which is pretty gruesome and satisfying to watch at the same time, so I enjoyed that bit. So then Beatrice sent them to a plane of existence that sort of works the same way the Forbidden Library does. So long story short is that they will just stay trapped there forever until either they feed on each other until one remains or until there's nothing left, so that's good. Also, I can't stress enough how relieved I am to know that Ram isn't dead, because the previous episode makes it look like she died. Like, I know Roswaal was trying to heal her, but it doesn't look like she's gonna survive, so I'm really glad that she did, because if she did die, I would like Subaru to just turn back, throw everything away, restart. Ram has to live through. I want all of them to live through. So in retrospect, all's well that ends well, Kashira. But in my opinion, Beatrice clearly is one of the highlights of this episode. Like, she even was pouting in the aftermath of the battle, and I was like, oh, that is just so precious and so cute. And Subaru didn't have a care in the world and just lifted Beatrice up and just spun her around, which is pretty hilarious. We then cut to the scene of Roswaal and Beatrice having a deep conversation while also gazing upon the resting place of their teacher. And it is revealed that Roswaal is actually the original Roswaal, the one Beatrice knew back 400 years ago when she spent her time with Ekidana and Ryuzu. Unfortunately, I actually knew this way back since Season 2 Part 1. I accidentally read it off the ReZero Wikia when I was trying to find some plot details in Season 2 Part 1. And the wiki mentioned something about Roswaal transferring his soul from one vessel to another. Therefore, he has been living throughout the generations of the Mathers. Now, I wasn't particularly happy when I accidentally read that. Even back then, I felt that was something crucial to the story, but it wasn't too important that it broke the anime experience for me, so I'm thankful for that. The two reconcile, sort of, and it was a pretty heartwarming scene. Meanwhile, Subaru and Emilia were chatting outside, and Emilia was getting pretty embarrassed, which I can understand considering how they had some intimate scenes in this Part 2. But after a while, I knew where the conversation was going, and in my mind I was like, do not say it, do not say it, which was Emilia assumes that she's already pregnant just because I'm sorry. I know I'm late back in this review, but it's pretty So Emilia thinks that she's pregnant just because she and Subaru had one intimate scene, which was just a kiss, and she was pretty fixated on that belief. Now, most of the time, a lot of media, not just anime, will always have the trope of kids assuming that babies are made simply by just holding hands or sharing one kiss or just hugging or sharing a bed or something. Like, I mean, yeah, granted they're too young to know the specific details, but like, It's always the same, if not similar, concepts on how they perceive children are made. And it turns out that Puck was the one responsible for implanting that idea in Emilia. Oh my god. Roswell got whacked around pretty hard. First it was Beatrice, then it was Otto, Garfield. I think even Petra got in on the action as well. Nevertheless, Roswell sort of made up for that by placing an oath seal with a curse on himself, so that from this point forward he will not be able to harm any of these people unless he wants to curse himself and reduce to atoms. Still dissatisfied, Emilia tells Roswell that he should apologize first and foremost, to which he did, and everyone seems sort of on board with it. Although Petra did say that she will never forgive him for as long as she lives, which is understandable, but she is willing to accept his apology. This next scene is pretty momentous, as this is the moment that Subaru becomes Emilia's knight officially. Prior to the ceremony, he and Roswell have a short exchange about where they both stand with each other, and Roswell admits that while he has admittedly lost the bet and is now devoted to Subaru and Emilia's cause, he still has no intention of giving up his dream of reuniting with Ekidana, and he does give a slight warning to Subaru not to lose his touch and to be wary. The ceremony itself is quite a spectacle to behold, though I wish that Rem was awake to see this. It's pretty sad that she's still unconscious. Emilia looks gorgeous and slightly taller. What hits me the most is that looking at her in this scene kind of symbolizes how much she has grown, and she looks like she's ready to enter the next phase of her life. Subaru's outfit suits him very well as a knight, and now that he has his own sword, I like to see him being able to effectively use it. The celebration then begins, but Subaru and Emilia converse outside, talking about the future and the present, and how Emilia would like to spend her nights with Subaru. Now I'm pretty sure it's nothing suggestive, it's probably wholesome interactions. So once that was done, they went back inside and joined the celebration, and they even danced together, which was pretty touching to see. And the episode ends with everything being so peaceful, and as I said before, all's well that ends well. This episode deserves a 10 out of 10 in terms of how much I enjoyed it, but I'm not sure about how the adaptation was, because I haven't read the light novels, so I can't really say. So I suggest you watch someone else who's read both the light novels and watch the anime, so then they could do a comparison. But I just really enjoyed this episode, and I'll get to my ReZero Season 2 Part 2 review later on. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this review. Leave down your thoughts of the episode and the season as a whole down in the comments below if you want to. Take care and have a good day.